guys, and welcome to another episode of Woke by Accident Podcast, a weekly chat about socially conscious topics impacting the culture. We are happy to have our most favorite co-host, Sambaza, host and creator of the Sambaza podcast. He is a three-time nominee for the Best African Diasporan Podcast by the APVA, and he is from the Republic of Kenya in East Africa. He has been a presenter at the Afros and Audio Podcast Festival and recognized by the Jollof Radio Media. Hey, Sambaza, how are you?
Hey, I'm good, Jen. How you doing today?
Doing well. Glad to be here. Another
Yep.
great, exciting show. We have a special guest. Really excited about our topic today.
And the
Um,
holidays are coming.
what's that?
Thanksgiving is coming.
Okay.
Thanksgiving is coming.
Yes. Okay. Check, check, check. I want to make sure I hear you clearly. But yes, Thanksgiving holidays are coming up. So, you have anything special you guys do for the holidays? Big family gathering?
Yeah, it's gonna be a big family gathering. Friends are gonna show up, and I think, yeah, that's how it is. We have a lot of families, and oh, guess what? I got this T-shirt, Pod Pops, from the Afros and Audio. We're still repping stuff from Afros and Audio.
Okay.
And actually, our guest is a former Afros and Audio attendee as well. So
Okay.
it's all about what do you call it? Collabos and getting together as a community and family.
Absolutely. So, yeah, that's definitely worth sharing that our guest is someone that another content creator that we were able to network with. And shout out to Sambaza who actually worked networking out on behalf of the show. And yeah, that is how we got our next guest. So we're really excited about that. And we will tell you more shortly. But we'll be talking about finances and money. So, really excited about this topic in particular. I know I feel this way about money. Something that, definitely we want more of. And how can we, you know, be our best financial selves and all of the things. So, yeah,
And what did we say? Money, 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 money.
or it's all about the Benjamins. Either one, whatever.
Well,
So, in particular, living paycheck to paycheck, that concept and how we can free ourselves from that. Thoughts on the topic, and before we introduce our guests.
I can't wait to get into this topic because we all have this issue about living paycheck to paycheck. So
Mhm,
um,
mhm.
when we get our guests to come on the show, he'll probably tell us more about how to overcome it and be better with our monies. And especially now, we're going into the holidays, and this is when you spend a lot of money and you can't get to kind of catch up come January till the end of the year. So you might put yourself in this loop of losing money all the time. So you kind of have to be careful, especially during the holidays.
For sure. Yeah, definitely. It's would behoove you, or to have a budget and be a little savvy about your finances, especially around the holidays, and any time really, especially when you have small businesses and maintaining a household and mortgage and all of the things. So let's get into it. So really excited to introduce our guests. We are excited to have the insightful host of About the Wallet, a podcast dedicated to financial literacy and empowering listeners to take control of their finances. So, our guest began his journey on the east side of Baltimore, where he attended Baltimore City College and grew up facing the challenges of poverty firsthand. And through his experience, he has developed a deep understanding of financial struggles that many people encounter, like the paycheck to paycheck lifestyle. Now he is using that insight to educate and inspire others on their path to financial wellness. And we are really excited to hear about his story and how he has made it his mission to make financial knowledge accessible for all. With that, Mr. Anthony Weaver.
Hey, 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 what's going on, everybody? So thank you guys
Hey,
so much for having me on the show.
yes, welcome.
Yeah, so if you want, I mean, for everybody that's new to me, first off, my name is Anthony Weaver. I'm the host of the About That Water podcast, where we help the sandwich generation build confidence in their finances and so that they can actually talk about money, spend money, and make money confidently. So that's what we do.
Nice. Sambaza.
Yeah, he's on mute.
Now, excuse me about that, but I got it now. So, welcome to the show, and I really appreciate you coming on. Thank you for taking your time. Now, I want to welcome everybody who's in there right now, talking about the guests that we have or the guys who are online listening in. Please feel free to say hey, and you can say your name and where you're from, and ask any questions. Please feel free. So we'll jump right into it and ask this question. Can you define what it means to be living paycheck to paycheck and why so many people are in that situation today?
Well, first off, that's a loaded question. Because when it comes to living paycheck to paycheck, it doesn't matter how much money you make. And by definition, is that you are pretty much living is exactly what it is. It's like as soon as you get your paycheck, you're getting giving it a name and paying your bills directly. Sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing. For me, I look at it as a good thing because then you're doing zero-based budgeting and with zero based budgeting, which means that you're actually giving each dollar a name so that you can actually have it go towards your savings. You can have it go towards your childcare. You can have it going towards your vehicles, your lunch, your dinner, whatever. But that means at the end of the day, when your check comes in, you now gave it a name. And by hopefully the next paycheck, you have $0. So now that you waiting for the next check to come in to go ahead on and do the same thing. But there's also a lot of cons against that because you get surprised events that come through. And that's where the emergency fund comes in. So if you put that part of your zero based budgeting, it's okay. You can have your snack fund on the side. You can have your emergency fund on the side. I think I have about five. Yeah, I have like five different bank accounts right now because I like the zero based budgeting process. So it really depends on the person and also the mindset of what they planning on doing with their dollars. And sometimes you have to say, like, what is it about that person or what lifestyle are they living? Are they living beyond their paycheck?
Mhm.
And that's where it becomes a problem. And that's where it becomes an issue because a lot of the issues now, keep in mind, everybody, this is for educational purposes only because personal finance is personal. So take what I say, it's like a grain of salt. So, just season it with whatever you want to. But one of the things is that when it comes to understanding your finances, you need to know your lifestyle. If you're not making enough to live the lifestyle that your friend is doing, that your buddies are doing, you want to go out on the weekends, you want to do all these fun things. So you're seeing people on social media doing all these things. Do not compare yourself to somebody that's living on credit because you will find yourself chasing that dream that you thinking they have it all together and they could be in debt. So you need to really think about what it is that you're trying to achieve for your life and stick to those. You need to stick to your morals. At the end of the day, just stick to your morals, set your boundaries, and you'll do just fine. So that's why I say it's a loaded question, only because it depends on the person's finances and where they want to go and are they really meeting their needs for their family.
You mentioned living beyond your means, and that's really kind of the nuts and bolts of why someone's, can speak more to living beyond your means. I think I know what that means in my mind.
Yeah, so living beyond your means is there's more month to there's more a month than your paycheck. So you'd be like, man, where all my money go? It's like that's the first thing. You feel like, man, I thought I had some money. You at the grocery line just swiping like this is all I got. And that's it. But also, there are sometimes, depending on your bank, if you don't set up those barriers and those boundaries for yourself, you need to put this
Mm,
thing on child protective mode, meaning there are no overdraft fees. Like you can actually, a lot of the banks now allow you to turn that off so that you do not over withdraw from that
mm,
particular account. Or you can actually have it automatically pull from a different account. So if you do the zero based budgeting, like I do, you can actually have it pull from your emergency fund or your snack fund or whatever fund that you have available so that it can continue on with that withdrawal. Now, for me personally, I'm a credit card person. I do not like using bank cards. I don't even know where my debit card is at, honestly. But I know where every dollar's at. I just don't know where the card is at because I use the credit cards heavy. I'm a points
okay.
guy and
Yeah,
cashback
yeah.
stuff. Yeah. So, but
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, that's interesting because
Hmm.
um, I worked at a bank before, and I don't know if it's changed this time. Like you said, things have changed a lot. They would allow you to overdraft at least $120. One of these banks would allow you $120. Once you hit that $120 mark, then they start now charging you on overdraft fees. And I think Texas, they used to charge you, and I'm saying used to because I don't know if it's still there. They would charge you like every transaction, whatever goes on. California used to charge you until a certain amount, and then after that, they would just stop. They will not go over a certain amount. So different places, banks act differently. That's kind of what type of knowledge people should know. And I like the fact that you said credit cards, and then you get the points back because those things add up.
Hmm.
You know
Yeah.
how to do it right, and that takes a lot of discipline. A lot of discipline.
It doesn't take a lot of discipline actually. Think about
Mm,
it as a like a disease, right? So say if you go to the doctor, right? The doctor tell you, "Hey, you can't have dairy anymore or you will lose your big toe." Will you stop using dairy, eating dairy immediately? Or will you try to snake a bite like, "Man, it tastes so good." You won't chance losing your big toe, right? Or
right,
your foot or your whole leg or something like that. So
right.
treat it the same way. Because this is a lifestyle now that you've chosen. And every lifestyle that you choose requires a different type of sacrifice.
Hmm.
There's levels to the money game, which means that you need to know those sacrifices from a mental standpoint, from your social standpoint, from the way how you carry yourself. Everything is encompasses into the spot where it actually impacts your dollar and how you're actually spending it. Because if you carry yourself like you look at somebody else's shoes, like, man, these some busted up shoes. Why don't you worry about the person that's in the shoes, not about the shoes? Those shoes probably got a story to tell. But depending on your culture, you just look at their attire, be like, oh, they a bum. They ain't got nothing on. And I believe what was it? Mark Cuban or was it the other guy that was on Shark Tank? The tech guy. Forgot his name. But he was saying it's like worry about the person that's not in the suit. The person that's in a regular t-shirt is the one you need to worry about because they choose to do that versus a person that's in the suit. They have to do that. And because when you start understanding your self value and your self worth. And this is the reason why I do the show is to build that confidence. It's like you don't have to worry about what other people are saying about what you're doing with your life, what you're doing in your household, what car you drive. Are they paying those bills? No. Are they paying you for the new shoes? You can complain about the shoes all you want to. It was like, hey, well, then give me $50 for some new shoes then. It's a difference between complaining about it and actually being about it and do the work. Because a lot of the times this financial stuff is a lot. And it can hurt somebody that feelings, and that's why I'm kind of afraid for this newer generation that are getting access to all of these phones and everything like that because they comparing themselves to what other people have at an early age versus because we come up into the holiday season, you know, everybody want the latest shoes, the latest clothes. They looking at what does somebody else have tech wise, but is it in their budget? Is it going to move? Because I don't mind if somebody want to get like the latest cars. That's what they like. That's what they want to spend their money on. Go for it. Have fun with it.
Hmm.
That's why personal finance is personal. Get what you want. I'm sorry. You know,
No,
so like,
that's good.
Brother
And
BA,
so
preach, preach,
yeah.
preach.
but you know what? There is pressure because people do stare and look at your shoes. You know what I mean? Or and as a lady, they look at your hands, and if your hands, your nails are not, my nails are not done right now. You know what I mean?
Right.
But sometimes you notice that people will like look at you like, oh, she kind of a. In your mind, you think they think I'm a bum because my nails aren't done, or you feel like, and you notice that people look down at your shoes like, hmm,
Yeah.
so there's pressure to, okay, I need to tidying myself up and portray a particular image. And oh, I may have to push, the limit on funds to keep up with the, I hate to say keep up with the
Joneses.
Joneses because I hate that expression. I really hate that expression.
But we do it.
We
We
do.
do it.
We'll go philosophical when we start talking about if you know it that you have $1 million in the bank
Hmm.
and you drive, uh, say, a Toyota Corolla, and somebody comes by with a Mercedes Benz or a Range Rover.
Hmm.
Um, and like you said, let's talk about the shoes. You're not dressed up all that way, but in your at the back of your mind, oh, you have $1 million sitting in the bank. Is it more philosophical, or is it something that you grow into? You understand?
Again, if that's what they like, that's what they like. Because like for me, I like tech stuff. Like for me doing this podcast, yes, I could have got a cheaper mic. Yes, I could have got less lighting. Yes, I could have gotten something besides the sound deck that I have because I want to make sure that the message is clear and fresh for everybody because this is what I enjoy. So if somebody gets a Corolla, then that's not what they value. And so when you want to compare somebody to every little thing you purchase, you're going to be sad. Wasn't it what comparison is the thief of joy or something like that? And because you want to keep comparing yourself, you're going to constantly feel like you're worthless.
Hmm.
So be comfortable in what you have today and where you've came from.
Hmm.
And I like this conversation about, when it comes to generational, because you also think about generational wealth, right? Or generational impact and showmanship on things. I can give you a perfect example. When I was growing up, I say in high school, my mom was like, "Hey, you need to get a leather jacket." And I'm like, "Why do I want to get a leather jacket?" She was like, "Because all the kids getting them and I never had one." And so she was like, "All right, cool, you get a." So then like she pretty much dragged me to the store, bought a leather jacket. I spent what like $200 on this jacket, wore it one time to school, and I left it in the closet because I was like, I'm not a leather jacket person.
Hmm.
It was never my thing. And because she wanted the best for us, because she didn't have it, it's like the more I didn't even want the best. I was like, I'm just happy to be alive, happy to have some clothes and a dry roof over
Oh
my head.
wow.
So I'm very minimalist as much as possible, even though you see all these books back here and all this stuff. But these are sentimental things.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
these are like little tokens of like everything that I have now has a story. And I don't want it to be of like, oh, I'm collecting this thing just because, oh, because somebody else has it. No, I want to get it because this is something that I value, something that I'm proud of. And then surprisingly, people was like, "Oh man, that looks really nice." Like this this thing, this vest, I say at least is about 12, 13 years old now. And I had
Okay.
this thing, this back when Target used to make good stuff, but good quality stuff.
Come on, Target.
Right. And like most of my clothes I get from the thrift store. So it's like,
Okay.
why compare? It doesn't. But the thing about it, you have to find that confidence in yourself to say it's okay to not have what somebody else have. And I'm happy with what I have. So and that's it just all goes back to really finding who you are where you want to be, and are you aligning? Hey, just like Taylor was saying, Taylor says, journey through finance says align your money with your value. And that's exactly it. Make sure that you're focusing on your value, what you're adding to yourself, and just keeping your mental space together. It's the best thing you can ever do. Because from a guy, come on, Sabaz,
Yeah.
you know, from a guy perspective, a woman can look amazing, but if she's constantly nagging you, asking you questions, like, bro, can I just get a break? You will go have a long drive just to get some peace
Hmm.
instead of dealing with the constant stuff that she knows are pushing your buttons. I will say that.
And you said something. I don't know. You may have said it in passing, but you may not realize. But it just touched me right now. You said something about your mom getting you that leather jacket because she thought you needed a leather jacket. I've done that same mistake as a parent. My son used to
Mm,
love Skechers. He was a Skechers dude all the time, and I was like, "Why don't you get yourself some Jordans?" Because I mean, Jordans are expensive. Why don't you get them? He still was on. He was on. Yeah, he was on the Skechers deal until when he turned about 11, 12. Then now he's talking about the Jordans. He's Giannis, and he's into Giannis, not even the Jordans. He doesn't want a Jordan. He's into Giannis. So I think sometimes even us, the generation, we have to be careful what we teach our kids. Yes, I want my kid to look good. I want him to look great. I don't want him to look like, yeah. But I also have to be careful about what I teach him. Sketches
mhm.
of shoes.
Wait,
Let him. Let,
Sambaza, you made your son get Jordans? Is that what we heard?
That's what it sounds like we hearing. You wanted to spend that money, right?
yeah, I was going to spend that money for him, get
Mm,
some Jordan, get some other shoes. But he was into sketches for a while, and then when he grew up, he kind of he got in himself, and then he changed. But his shoes are not very expensive. He'll get shoes that are not too expensive, but it's not like I'm the one who's making the choice for him. He made the choice that he wants those shoes, and I kind of like that idea that you say that people may not have caught that as us parents, even like right now, we're still going into the time like maybe even when we go into the festive seasons or even when the school year start when you're buying for school uniform for those kids who are allowed to wear clothes, different type of clothes. Kind of watch what you drive your kids to wear because yes, it might give them a good impression, but then again, are you making them money conscious? They're gonna
Mm.
how are they spending it?
yeah,
Okay. So that's what I was trying to allude to with your mom and me being a parent as well, having
Mm.
done that.
yeah.
I
Because
think
I was an Air Force One guy
oh yeah,
growing up with shoes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Until the song came out and then they got popular, then they jacked the price up. Because the Air Force Ones, they used to be so cheap. I would say like 30
Yeah.
$40. As soon as the song Air Force One came out, I was like, bro, why they $70? I just stopped buying them. I went to Canvas shoes. I was like, give me the Converses. I'll take some Converses for a while.
the Converse are now
That's
expensive.
That's
funny.
why I started wearing those too. Now I got some no name brand boots, like some Chelsea boots now. I'm like, I got Chelsea boots that's not even leather, it's like some pleather or whatever. Like those are my boots.
Okay.
Wow.
Well,
So
some
I
new
think
inserts though.
we can take a
Sambaza,
break right now and go to the comments, Jen, because I see we have a lot
it's
of
a
people.
lot.
Yeah, we got a lot of people there to talking today. So, in the beginning we asked people to say where they're from. We only got one person, but let's go through it. We
Where
have
you
Vern, Elevate with Vern, and that's Vern.
She up in New
Yep,
York.
welcome to the show. Yep, welcome to the live, everybody. Then we got Ed Campbell. Ed Campbell says peace and love, family. And we'll go on to Journey Through Finance. That's Taylor from Atlanta. Yes,
Hmm.
you you knew the assignment. You followed the assignment. Looking forward to the conversation. Yes, and she says I'm also a financial coach. You can throw in some words there, and we'll also go with whatever you're saying. We'll add it. She also says here, love that personal finance is personal. What a
Mhm.
word! Whew, oh, whew, a word. Um, then Tiffany Bird says here, it does take a great deal of discipline for some. You should not charge what you can't pay. for at the end of the month. Using credit cards can be deceptive if not disciplined.
Ooh.
That's true. What do you say about that?
Uh, um, again, goes back to your values. Because starting out, again, my mom, back to it, she got me into credit cards. She was like, "Yeah, we're gonna go get you a credit card." We went to Zales, got my first credit card, and it was like a pinky ring. And I was like, because she was like, "Yeah, you gotta get a ring, and you gotta build your credit and stuff like that." But again, she knew about what you call it, authorized users.
Mhm.
So for those of you who have kids and never heard of this, every credit card out there will allow you to add an authorized user to your credit card. Now, there's going to be age limits. I put a post up on Instagram a long time ago. I might have to bring that back up to light. That shows the different ages per credit card. So, like Amex can allow somebody from the age of 13. You got, I think Chase can do like the age of 8. You can actually allow your children to build credit with the credit cards that you have, so that by the time they're ready to get their own credit card, they can get tens of 20 thousands of dollars versus credit. Versus what I had to do was to go out get my own at 18, and I'm starting fresh credit, which means that I have no history. And because you don't have that history, let me pull up right quick because I'm not too keen. I don't remember all of the percentages. So let me
Mhm.
look that up right quick.
For sure.
Um, because I know history has a big impact on what it is. Credit history. I forgot what it's called. Score factors. Sorry for the wait. Okay, so length in history is at 15%. I mean, but payment history is 35%.
Mhm.
Which is the biggest percentage out of the whole wheel, as far as your credit score, the makeup, because 30% is the amounts that you own. You got new credit, 10%, 10% for credit mix. So understanding that the credit history is the biggest thing that you can ever have for your credit. Imagine you at 18 and you have 15 years of credit history because your parents already had a credit card before then, and they just add you to one credit card. So again, you're gonna have to have that talk, and this is the reason why, what you call it, I refer credit cards as the oven. So
Mhm.
what I mean by that is like an oven can burn your house down if you don't use it correctly, right? It can burn your food. It can add a little crispy to it, and it's like, oh yeah, it's not burnt. You can scrape it off. But if you treat it nicely, you can make an awesome meal. Thanksgiving's around the corner. You even got the stovetop options now. So with that being said, if you look at the credit cards the same way, yes, it can mess up your life if you don't use it correctly, but it can also provide you free resources. Like I travel to, I go to FinCon every year, so I travel to FinCon for free every year. So I get free hotel stay, free flight because my credit card points. And all I
Nice.
do is just pay off the bill every month. Well, actually, I pay it daily. Every time I use it, I pay it off. But those are the perks that I get for using it correctly. And people are like, well, how you use it correctly? Just follow the rules. They give you a nice little packet to say, like, hey, if you don't pay your bill, we're going to charge you this. But if you pay your bill on time, you'll get these perks. So understanding that piece is such an amazing
Mhm.
thing. Um, and so yeah, so when it comes to credit cards, it's a big thing, but you don't need too much guidance. It's just an understanding of how to, like, again, there's levels to these things. When you're
Mhm.
introducing credit,
Mhm.
you need to know the rules of that game. When you're introducing real estate, that's a whole nother credit because you're taking debt on. And that's
Right.
a whole nother rule to that thing. And again, like people try to say, well, it's your house as an asset. No, you're still paying for it. You're living in it. You're not making money off of it. Blah blah. That's a whole other conversation. But
Right.
we wouldn't be able
We'll continue that. We want to go through
yeah.
the comments here so that
So,
everybody gets a chance. Uh, Journey through finance. She says the Joneses are broke. Right. Now, welcome to the show, Sophia Stokes.
hey
Uh,
Sophia.
welcome, welcome, welcome. And then
I like how my folks came through. I appreciate it.
Yeah, all your folks did come through. Yep. And Journey Through Finance says, align your money with your value. And then Sophia Stokes comes again and said, I had many a teacher tell me quality over quantity. Well, that's true. That's true. And then now this tool for $99. This must be the Target thing.
Could be.
Yeah, yeah.
But I was
So
thinking about the Nelly song when he was talking about it could get for $2.99.
oh
They used to be for two
oh
ninety.
okay. And
I'm
then
not
The
sure. I
two
mean, she could
pair.
be. Yeah, the
oh
Air Force One song. Yeah, when I
yeah,
talk about Air
so
Force Ones. Yeah.
oh, okay, okay. So Ed says prep cooking has saved me a nice amount of money, and I cut back on ordering out and going out to eat. It's also more healthier. That's one of the ways to
Sure.
to whatever. So guys,
Yeah.
keep chatting on the chat, and we'll pick up some, and then kind of if you have any questions, we'll keep asking, and then keep continuing with the chat. So next question, Jen. I think you have the next question here.
Oh, I know y'all had a set of questions. I can keep
I know
running.
we
I know
look,
you
we
got
veered
great.
off. We have veered off the wagon.
I think we're talking about
mm,
financial freedom and breaking out of the paycheck cycle. How to get out
okay.
of it.
So we were talking about breaking this paycheck to paycheck. I like how you said giving it a name or giving it a place. But the question was, what's one thing that you wish people understood more about financial freedom and breaking out of the paycheck to paycheck? And so you can just take that where you want it.
Let's see. Well, you have to kind of figure out what is it that you consider, you know, wealth. What is it?
Mhm.
What is it for you, for your family? But also, you can be. This is where you need to be stingy, um, because it's your life. Where do you really feel like you can take your life with this current resources that you have? What are you willing to sacrifice? It goes back to what are your values, and this is a more of an emotional side of the house, not just numbers, because numbers is really 10% of the value of this whole equation. 90% of it is all emotional, and what I mean by that is because yeah, everybody could be a millionaire in 10 years. All you have to do is just take 90% of your income and invest it. Live the right. Save. They always say the book, The Richest Man in Babylon. Always pay yourself first at 10%, and then pay all the rest of your dues from that. So, and 10% of your net value, not gross. So, if you're looking at your finances, just right off the rip, you can you can reach any of your financial values if you just stick to your numbers and ride it through. Meaning, if nothing happens, again, this is when everybody has this breakthrough. They try to say it like in this little bubble, but again, life is not a bubble. It's everybody else's bubbles bumping into each other's bubbles. It's like it's a mass chaos. So how do you actually
Mhm.
build those barriers first? Which is mean that you need to learn how to say no more. You need to learn how to say yes to things that value to you most. That is the best way to actually. Those are the two things to really help you get out of the rat race of the financial churn and burn. Secondly, I mean, Ed brought up a good point. This is where I kind of deviate from that a little bit. It's because saving you only can cut but so much. Because if you got $100, okay, cool, you know how to save $100. But do you know how to grow $100? And that's where I want to change people's mindset from. It's like you cut everything down to the bare minimum. You done followed the feng shui thing. You done did Marie Kondo folding and kicking things out your house that doesn't add value. You did that. Now what? How do you add value to your life? What is value now that you kicked out all the things that don't bring you joy? But now let's figure out the things that do bring you joy and bring more of it. And if money is one of those things that you feel as though it allows you to bring more joy into your life, meaning you're going to have more time with your family, That's what a lot of people want to do, especially when you get a newborn. You got that 6 months or 4 months. I think it's like 4 months now for paternity, mean for maternity leave. For guys, I think we get like a month or two for paternity leave, and that's it. But after the child gets to like age 1 and 2, what are you doing? How are you taking your time out of your day in your life and things that you say you value family, but yet you're working all the time? How are you actually making that change to make that happen? And this is where going back to your values and your feelings, what is it that you really want to take your life to the next level? So, in order to get out of it, you really need to sit down with yourself, really sit in that dark place. It's okay. Think about yourself as a plant. You're a seed. You're buried underground. You're growing your roots before you show your face and let the world hit up against you in any which way. But you know you're stable and you're grounded in your values so that when you look at somebody in that Benz next to you in your Toyota Tercel, I mean, I even went even further with the Tercel than the Corolla, but you got to understand like, hey, it's cool. I'm on a mission. I'm gonna get to where I need to be. I've seen, like some people say, like I've seen the world. I've been to France. I've been to Greece. But the person with that Benz that's sitting next to you probably only went down the street. They only know their neighborhood and maybe their state, but they haven't been to any other state. So these are the things that I want to. Those are once you figure out those, you can easily get through anything you want.
So I'm
Wow.
going to generalize something. You talked about the values and everything, and I think I may have a question regarding like when is taking vacations. How do you take the vacations? But I think now when you say you put a value to how the vacation is taken, let's suppose somebody here or who will listen to this is full of debt with credit cards. They're overwhelmed and they're living
Mhm.
paycheck to paycheck. What are the practical first steps that they can start to building up a financial cushion and financial freedom?
Again, it's if you want to go by the numbers, because at this point you're already find it like you're emotionally frustrated. If you go by the numbers, take $1. If you can put $1 to your savings account and just say, you know what, this is the start of my financial journey. Is saving that $1. Put that $1 off to the side. Start paying your bills. Do what you got to do. Pay the minimum. Then you put the second dollar in for your next paycheck. Soon you'll actually have what there's like 26 paychecks in a week if you do get paid bi-weekly. You'll have $26 by the end of that year. But say, hey, you got a bonus. You start throwing in $2 or $3. You might have $30 by the end of this year. Nobody knows. But the fact of the matter is that you took that first step to start figuring out what it is that you want to do and get to where you want to go by taking that $1. And it all starts with $1. Remember, rain creates puddles, creates oceans, and it just starts with one drop. So start with that. Secondly, I would say is to get on a budget. You need to know, and you need to know where your money's at, because ultimately, most people who are frustrated don't know where their money's at. And I actually created a little acronym here that if you guys like it, if you don't mind, I got time. Do I got time to talk about the acronym?
Yes,
Okay,
please.
right. We can like hurry up. Like, all right. So I created a little acronym that I thought hopefully you guys like it. Uh I think this is like the third podcast I've been on to talk about it. So the acronym is called BIKE. BIKE. If you guys want to write that in the chat, so at least I know y'all following on. All right. So type in B for right now if y'all can follow. So B is for budget. This is a financial plan to project your to project what you want, the outline for your income and expenses, because obviously you got to pay things and get things out of there. The second thing is your income. The reason why the I is income, because that is one of the things we all know how to do, but this is the engine that drives everything. Think about it, these as like the pedals on your bike, because the more muscle that you build, the faster this thing can go, which means that the more income you can make, the faster you can achieve your goals. Now that we got that, Think about K. K is the knowledge, which is the understanding and the skills that are necessary to complete all of the tasks that's necessary to either A, make sure your household is in order, making sure that you know where your money's at. Also, when's your next paycheck coming in? What skills that you need to build to take you to that next level. Now, E is execution. If you guys can write down execution, a lot of people right now they want to execute, but they don't have the other three. Execution is a process of carrying out that plan or strategy. And this is where you're turning your ideas, everything that you planned, everything that you budget for, all that knowledge that you gained. This is where you turn that into action. So once you put that together, you're understanding that this is something that you can rely on, and this is something that will take you to wherever budget that you're into, whatever situation you in, you can get back on it. Because when you're riding a bike, you could fall off, but you know how to ride a bike. You can get back up on it and just start pedaling again. So this is an acronym that I really want, that I created because because I like riding bikes. So, I was like, let me come up with something like this. And
That's
I really like this.
dope.
So
I love
thanks.
that.
Yeah,
I love
it is.
that.
It is.
Super dope.
Yeah. But yeah, I just wanted to leave that with you all. I know time's coming up, but I at least wanted to make sure that the people who lasted this long and got here, I just want to make sure you got that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
And then we're veering off a little bit, but I just felt compelled when you were speaking, like, it really is emotional. A lot of the choices that we make are, hit you in some kind of emotional way. I had a coach once upon a time, and I didn't stick with it. But one thing that the first it was a lot of mindset conversations about, like, kind of like that rich dad poor dad kind of
Oh,
mindset. How people who spend in this kind of way have that concept of, like, oh well, I've always been broke, so, or I always like never had no money before, or like you said, I'm in my true sale and I ain't never been nowhere
right.
before, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Would you ride with Neo if he was in a Geo?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, look. And then
Not
the
Neo
rich
the Geo.
dad, speak to that.
Yeah. So, ride with Neo to a Geo. It's sad for this community, and this is the reason why you'll see. I'll use churches as an example. Churches are a staple in most African American communities, right? Now, if the pastor shows up in a shirt that's kind of dingy, shoes are okay, but they scuffed up. The pants is probably don't have a crease in them. They will not respect that pastor. And not too many people in the congregation would even show up just on appearance alone. But yet, somebody who has the glitz and glam, they got flyers, they got lasers, they got the full band. Oh, they must be doing something. So you want to give them more money. Show me the money. Like, but it's like, how are they any better if you're supposed to be reading the Bible and the Bible is supposed to give you the message? And it's a lot of the times they say, if you've been through some mess, you qualified to be the messenger. So let the person who's been through some mess tell you about their mess. Like, I don't know. But the appearance has it for this. It's sad in this culture, and even in this day and age, it's like we still look at appearance as a way of like, hey, this person is doing well. For me, if I see somebody riding around in a busted up vehicle, I don't think they broke. I think they just have values in other things. They value other stuff. So, but a lot of times you can actually learn a lot from a person. For ladies and guys who are out there dating, if you see somebody with a junky car, usually that's kind of what their house looks like too. So yeah, to keep that in mind. I just want to throw that out there. But yeah, far as you know, the appearances, I mean that is appearances that you have to really, I don't know, you have to read more into it. Because sometimes a lot of people who smile and laugh in your face usually have a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. Because at the end of the day, once we turn these lights off and shut down at the end of the day, we still have a calling to go through. We have, family to tend to. We have, I'm hungry, so I got food to tend to. So it's like you got things going on behind the scenes that we don't showcase all the time. And people who know me, who've been rocking with me for a while, know like I'm as transparent as I can be. I'm approachable as much as I can be. And if I'm taxed out, I'll let you know. But for the most part, I'll be there.
Okay, well, that's nice. That's nice. I really like whatever you've preached to us on, and like somebody through the mess should be your messenger. We're gonna go back to the house.
Okay.
Ed had a question, and he says, "I have stayed in an Airbnb where the
Mhm.
owner of the house lived there also. It was also another entrance, excuse me, into the house. So in this case, it was an asset to the owner. I guess that was a question. How would you look at it? Would it be an asset to the owner, or what would you call it?
Uh, you're still paying for it. Like they still got a mortgage to pay. It's like at the end of the
I mean,
day,
I guess it's another stream of income, though, right? So,
is it really? Because they still got the mortgage. Until the mortgage is gone, that's income.
but
Because
But what?
sometimes the pay is more than the mortgage note, right? Like if you
yeah,
were had
but
a
that's
rental.
per month. But I'm
Yeah,
thinking about the overall. You still owe the bank still owns your house
right.
until it's paid off. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Like once you move out of the house and now it's its own entity, you can go rent somewhere else. Then yeah, now it's an asset. But if you're living there and all these things, it's like if that person in that other room in that Airbnb sets it on fire, like you're not going to collect what renter's insurance. Like, do you get homeowners insurance? Like, there's so many from an asset perspective. It's like giving it up is like I'm not sure.
Yeah, I want you to explore this, and I have a
Yeah.
question because I have a very good friend of mine, and he's also into the financials.
Hmm.
And well, not he's into the financials. He is actually does he's in finance, and they have their house, big old house, and they put it on as an Airbnb. From what I'm understanding, is they're making more out of that Airbnb when they want to whereby it pays off the mortgage. And that's what I'm saying. If it's going to pay off the mortgage and you're still living in the house, except when you have to leave off, and even when they need somebody to come in there, like say for example, if they're coming over a weekend, they'll just go out and stay in a hotel. And they say even with staying in a hotel or even staying with friends over the weekend, they come visit. They visited us as well. At the end of the day or at the end of the year, the amount of money that they have spent on the house vis-a-vis what they've earned from the Airbnb surpasses the Airbnb money surpasses what they're paying for mortgage or what comes out of pocket from their mortgage, so that they're making some money out of it. Now that's where
That's
I think we're kind of looking at, is that an asset or is it going to be a liability?
I would still call it a liability. Mostly because you still got to pay for it. And also at the end of the day, it's like until you own that house outright, that's where I'm looking at it as. It's like it's still, even though people, because you can place value on anything. Like the shirt that you have, even though it's from Pod Ops, that can actually be an asset. Like everything you can put under the umbrella can be tangible and intangible assets. But I'm looking at it from, I guess, from like more likely an investment opportunity. Because like some people will say, I think there was a story. I'm not sure if you guys heard about it, but it was a long story. Trying to make it short as I can. It's like a fisherman was out there having fun fishing, and he's going to catch some fish. A businessman see this guy like, hey, why don't you turn this to a multi business and catch more fish and so forth, so that you can go head on and just spend more time with your family instead of going out fishing. But the guy enjoys fishing. That's what he was doing. He was doing something that he enjoys. And so he was like, well, why am I doing all that to come back to do what I'm doing already? And that's one of the things is like, yeah, you can go ahead on and rent this thing out. And yes, it's paying more than what your monthly mortgage is. But until that house is paid off, what are they going to do once the house is paid off? They're going to continue to do the same thing. They're going to sell the property, or they plan on living it forever. You know, what is the end goal? And that's ultimately what I'm getting at. From an asset perspective, most assets you want to sell those off. You want to give those away to kind of, why are you holding on for them to be like a family heirloom and then put that burden on the next family member? Like, what's the end goal here?
Right.
And so from an asset perspective, it's like that's the reason why I call it more of a liability, because you're still living there. And at the end of the day, if that house goes up, now they got to go back and go try to find something else. And it's more than likely not going to be the exact same. It's not going to be in the same conditions. They probably either got to pay more and so forth. So it's a whole cycle, but it's a risk in everything. And like I said, there's levels to it all. It's just how do you want to categorize it? Because some people who want to get into real estate, they was like, oh yeah, I make $200 a month. Well, per door, who cares? I can get $200 from the stock market. Like I just today, it was like it was up by like a couple thousand today. And I was like, oh, that's great. So it's like, do I want to go out and just get this real estate property just to do the same thing to make less, put the hassle and everything like that? So it depends, goes back to your values. If you see what they're doing is exciting to you, go for it. I know millionaires that rent. They talk about it all the time. They prefer renting because they like to travel. It's really depends on your values. But from the asset perspective, I still put that, especially if it's your primary, I still call that as your liability more than your asset, because you got to pay for so many things outside of it.
That's why Journey to Finance says living there is a sublease. LOL.
Yeah.
Oh, and Denise Moore from the Healing Session, Heal and Empower, has just joined us, and she says, "Hello,
Hey.
family. Fire
Hey.
emoji. Welcome, 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 welcome." Now, I got a question with regard to savings.
Mhm.
Um, they say black women, and I'm going to say it out there, black women have this secret pocket money they keep out there somewhere. Jen, I know you have it somewhere there. There's
Not
all
black
the women,
women.
but not gonna say they're gonna say no, but we know you have money hidden somewhere. That piggy bank of yours that everybody says. Let's just say it has $50,000. Would you
Mhm.
recommend to leave it as $50,000 cash, or yeah, Jen, it's fifty
What
thousand
black woman? You talking about Big Mama's TV or what you?
thousand.
What black woman? Look, I'm going on
You
mute.
just throwing everybody out, right? She want to mute.
$50,000. Uh,
Mhm.
that piggy bank. Would you suggest it to sit there as $50,000, or would it be $50,000 invested in stocks, bonds, something that will create money going in back and forth?
It depends. Every financial person will tell you if they are truly looking out for the best for you. It depends, because when it comes to having that $50,000, dependent. So the reason why I say depends, like take a nurse for instance, right? During the pandemic, a nurse, even if she could spell nurse, got a job, right? If they can put on a smock and just push somebody from one room to another, they got a job. They were making hand over fist money. Now, take somebody that was in the art industry who does marketing and so forth. Ain't nobody was open. What are you marketing? You lose that job. How many more months do you got to wait to get another job? It might take you a whole year. Do you know your monthly expenses? They could take that whole 50,000. So that's why I say it depends. Depend on the industry, depend on where you at. I know it's not the answer you're looking for, but it's the if somebody that's really looking out for your best interest, that is what they're going to look at. It's like, hey, what is your industry? What is your monthly expenses? And what is your next value? What are you going to do if you were to lose this job today?
Okay.
And I don't know where that example came from. We're talking about people living paycheck to paycheck. The
No, no,
average
no.
person don't got no fifty
No, no.
thousand dollars
Fifty
stashed
thousand dollars
away
right,
in
right
Big
from
Mama's
paycheck.
TV. So no, we talking about people who they can't ride
Oh
with Neo
god.
because he ain't in the street. And
I'll
look,
tell us, oh, we ain't got no money, we ain't got no money. But every time they say, oh, they got a piggy bank somewhere hiding, and the journey to finance say never heard such a thing, and she's laughing about it because
cause you made that up.
You putting out their secrets, dude. That's what you're doing.
yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Everybody should have a. I think every. Well, when you talking about that from a
Mhm.
married perspective, because marriage is a business. I don't care what nobody say. Marriage is a business.
Ooh.
Um, that's my opinion. Uh, Everybody should have their own savings account, separate and outside the marriage. Me personally, that's what I think. Some religious people, we had this argument, well, not argument, but this discussion, words mean things. Had this discussion on my show about, combining finances versus keeping them separate. Depending on, again, it depends on your family values. Had one lady, she came on it, she did a call in. I'll allow people to call into the show. She called in and said it took 7 years for her husband to finally do the joint account thing. As soon as he did the joint account thing, I think with a year or two after that, she was able to retire him from his job.
Wait, what?
Yep. So she does her own cleaning business.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah.
But the thing, I think we're talking
It's
about.
variables though. It's variables too
Yeah, it's
because
a lot of it. Yeah.
yeah.
So okay, so and I would like the ladies in the chat to chime in on this. Which option would you prefer, or which one are you thinking of, or which one works out best? For me, or for us, we have three accounts. There's a one major account that all the money goes to, all the paycheck goes there, and then there's some that goes on the other side. I like people who are taking the middle road, and then everyone has their account, and then so they have their monies to spend on their own, and this is whereby you have you have like for me, I'd say this: if I want to surprise my wife, I can surprise her. When you buy her something as a gift, she'll see, oh, um it's right there. They just bought something from Target. It's for our anniversary. See, so where's the fun in it? It kind of throws some things off. And then now this is a podcast for another day. And I'd be happy for everyone who's on the chat to kind of come back in when we're doing this podcast. It's talking about people like me. I'm an immigrant, and I subscribe to Kenya. Like you heard in the beginning, I'm a Kenyan, and as elder of the family, like I'm the oldest family member at that part. I've inherited the I've inherited the responsibility of having to take care of whatever's back there. So that comes as a challenge when you have a family here and you have to take care of, I can say, a family also back in Kenya, or assets that are there in Kenya. That can create a huge dynamic in your marriage and your finances. And like they said, most marriages get broken up when the finance comes into play. But aside
Can
from
I
that.
can I add into that?
Mhm.
The only reason why it breaks down is because they're not having the tough conversations comfortably, like and often. Because if you have the conversations often, it's like, oh, it's not a surprise. Oh yeah, we know that he was going to do this. Okay, and you knew the stipulations that were going to happen with it. Are you going to go back to your family in Kenya? Okay, well then divorce it is. You know what the stipulations is. That's why I said marriage is a business. You're signing a contract. This is a contract that you put with her, with your family, that say, hey, I'm gonna be the man in the house. These are the things that I like to have, and these are the things that she likes to have. These are the things that if we have kids, this is what the kids are going to have. And also when the parents get older, what are we going to do with the parents? Are they going to move in the house with us? Or are we going to build another UAD in the back? Or are we going to put them in a nursing home? This is all in the contract. Also, if for any reason that you decide to get a divorce, that's another contract. You got to have the prenup or the postnup. these things got to be written down because once you break up, those assets can be split in half if you're not careful. But if you put that in a prenup, postnup, or even if y'all just have a mutual agreement, y'all wrote on something and somebody just said beside you or whatever, and like, hey, I witnessed y'all talked about this, that could be your contract too. And it can be held up in the court of law. Slide that on over and be like, hey, when I leave, you keep all the assets. I don't care. I'm out. That all has to be written and understood. So once you have that conversation comfortably and often, you don't have anything to worry about when things hit the fan. So it's
Well,
not such an
yeah, you
issue.
have
I'm
to
sorry.
have communication and
Yeah.
discovery of those types of things. So it's like you said, it's not a surprise, and someone is not blindsided by new information. But I mean, like variables, right? People who maybe came together later in their life, maybe they were, married to another person in a different
Hmm.
life. Now they're with this person, and the people's prior kids. It's like a whole nother dynamic. Like I know a family member where they got together, past 45, prior marriages, prior children, and prior houses and all of that. And so it was okay, we're going to mow to this house, but I got rental property. I don't have extra rental properties. You know what I mean? And so this family me, she didn't know anything about the husband's rental. And he was like, I had that, and he just felt like I didn't have to go into all these details because he had it before the marriage. And some people personally feel that way. So it's a lot of variables and layers when, people are, I'm not going to say age, but just in a different stage of your life, you have different things that you may not have if you're, fresh out of college or what have you.
Yeah. And then when you pass, who's going to take care of that stuff? Where's your estate plan? And like that's what I'm saying. Like the reason why majority of marriages either break up because of finances or through death, because that's what investigation discovery is great at. Oh, they had everything, but he wanted to spend all the money at the bar, and she didn't like that. Pew, pew. And then the next thing you know, she's on like Dateline or something. That's how it happens because they didn't have a conversation. He didn't stick to the rules of the plan that they put together, and he got the consequences.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's on Snapped. I mean, you've seen these shows. 2020.
It's
Right.
I
a
keep going
lot
right.
of things. It's a lot of things that can, go on. Yeah. Okay,
Right.
well, we're not going to keep you
I was like,
forever.
Sabaz like, man, but I want to talk about this.
We had
I was like,
for the future for the
yeah.
kids. Like, what would you recommend us teaching our kids? A couple of steps that we can tell them. Hey, at first this is what you do. I know you already
Yeah.
gave us that gem regarding the fact that you could have put them in the cart as an additional user. I never thought about that. That's something we might do.
Hmm.
What we do with our kids is they have a credit card right now because banks do allow kids to have well, debit cards. So each one of them has a debit card, and they get to do chores in the house, and they get paid an allowance. Um, my son does a bit of work out there, so he gets more money for himself. But they learn how to spend. So they have a card, they know how to spend. But right now, he makes some crazy purchases that you sit down and wonder, like, what in the world were you thinking of? How can we teach them that, hey, this is what you need to do, even though they will not listen to us right now. They're going to have to make those crazy mistakes, and then they learn from their crazy mistakes. Hopefully we can guide them to some type of financial knowledge. How do you suggest in your perspective?
All right. Uh, First off, candy. Candy is the best way to teach a kid about finances. Reason being is
Mhm.
because candy is a great motivator. Sweet, very small to handle, low cost entry for it, right? Everything is roughly around like $1 or two or even cheaper. But the cool thing about it is that you can do the value of candy. So take the fun size Snicker, right? I think you can only get those in bags or in like the little sleeves or whatever. Or you can get like the big bags for them. Or you can just buy the single bar of Snickers. I'm using Snickers as an example here. And you can say, like, hey, well, let's look at the price of this candy. How much are you making with that? Like, how long does it take you to make this money up to get that particular candy bar? Or, how are you going to spend that? So these are the different ways that's one way of doing it. Because some people are like, oh man, look at that big old chocolate bar. And like, Easter's coming around the corner too. So it's like, how do you get them to start thinking that way? It's like candy is an easy motivator. Secondly, what you can do is Apple actually released a credit card for kids that you can actually give them. But the cool thing about it, though, they allow you to limit on how much they have. I think back in 2021 is when they introduced it. So if you have Apple Card, you can actually give them all a credit card, just put a limit on it. And so you don't have to worry about them going over or anything like that, which is beautiful. I just kind of wish other credit cards would do that too. Um, but this is also another way to kind of put them on their limit. But this is a reason why credit cards is a great thing and also a bad thing. The bad thing about it is that they don't have that tangible dollars. If you give them cash money, they can actually look down at how much money they have versus how much that candy bar costs and actually do the subtractions right then and there. So I would suggest, because I don't have kids myself, but I used to teach, and showing them the dollar value, and they was like, man, I never saw a 50-cent piece before. Like, show them the tangible pieces of money so that they can actually figure out what it is that they like. And they will talk, just have them talk through the process, talk through their thought process on why they decided not to get this or that. And I want you as a parent to, while you go on shopping, is to talk to your kid on why you're getting this product versus that product. Why are you getting this laundry detergent? Oh, because my mother used to use this detergent, or because I saw this on TV or something like that. But does that really impact you? Or are you doing it for a financial thing? So that's why I say it's like mostly we're going back to the emotional side of the house, the information that you're giving. But again, what are your motivators for buying something versus their motivators? So share that info while you're out there.
And okay, so I'm going to tell you this story. And there's a game, this NCAA football. It's
Mm-hmm.
not been out there for a long time, just came back this year for the first time. So normally I don't buy the games until time for Thanksgiving because they have that Friday deals.
Yeah,
But
Black Friday. Yeah.
games, football, soccer, and basketball. Each game is $70.
Oh,
Comes
okay.
brand new. It's $70 minimum, unless you're going for the special one. Okay,
Yeah.
so if I get it around Thanksgiving, I'll be paying $90 for 3 games because each game is $30. But if I to buy them when they release them, that's 170 $210.
Right.
Well, NCAA comes out, and it's that weekend, and we go. My son gets some money, and we're driving back home, and he says, "I have to get it," and I was like, "Dude, can't you wait till Thanksgiving when it's $30?" He's like, "No, I don't want to wait that long." And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, "Okay, look at it this way: you're saving this money. The game, you'll still play the game on and on and on, but it's that instant gratification that he had to have it then because for him." He'll play it now when he goes to class or when he goes to school and people are talking about the game.
Yep.
He can't play the game because he has to wait between, I think it was now July
Now. Yeah.
till November, when he has to wait and then buy the game at that time. So people will keep telling him about the game, what happens about the game, and he had already been watching videos on YouTube about the game. So I think this is where the time, instant gratification, while with delayed
Delayed
gratification,
gratification. Yep.
right? And I couldn't convince him, and I told him, you know what? That's your money. You earned it. You spend it, but
There you
you
go. It goes back to, what do you value? If he value video games, but then he lacks on like clothes wear, like how you said, the shoes aren't really that important. If his video games is his thing, video games is his
Mhm.
thing. You know, if because he will know those sacrifices. In playing video games, they'll teach you that because it's like, hey, you need to save up these amount of coins to buy this particular amount of gear. You need to go to work. You need to put in that effort to get this amount of money to move to the next level in the game. So he understands that proposition. It's just now that he's putting it in real world and he's telling you exactly what he wants when he wants it. And it seems like he's been doing that a lot for you and you're just not listening. That's what I'm getting out of this. Because he was like, yeah, I like these shoes. No, you're going to get some Jordans.
Right.
I like this game. No, you're going to wait till November. Are there anything else you doing? Like, you need a session? Like,
Now
I
it's going
need
to
a
be parenting.
session.
It's parenting, and I think I'm thinking about it logically. And at that point, I was for the clothes part. I was thinking of it as okay, I want you to look fresh, right? But then again, his choice.
right.
The mama told me, look, just let
Now,
him be.
clean clothes don't have to be like the top end brand, just let them
Right.
look clean.
So yeah, that one he's changed. He's even that's a whole topic.
A girl will change them easily, but yeah.
He just changed. The only thing he needs to do. I won't say that, but there's one thing that he needs to do. But the other part, now for the games part, now that he's spending his own money, I think now he's learning, and I've learned, instant gratification. If that's what makes him happy, and he's worked for it, and he's willing
Mm,
to spend his money
yeah.
and use it for that matter, then fine. That's on you. So as a parent, I'm learning and teaching, and I guess being a dad and a coach are two different things. So
Yep.
if he was to come and you be his coach, I think the delivery would be different and the acceptance would be different as regards to coming from me. You know,
Yeah, you bringing up a book that I used when I was teaching, and it's I tell everybody who has kids, and if they have like hard time either communicating things to them or just trying to get them to listen. The book is called "Listen So Kids Will Talk." Um, actually, yeah, "Listen So Kids Will Talk." It's a yellow book. You can get it on Amazon. I got it from a digital copy. If you got a library card, you can get it for free. Just get the audiobook. But I highly recommend it mostly because it gives you a lot of examples of providing a open, I guess we call it like a safe space so that they can actually come to you when they have questions and you can actually ask them like, so tell me more about this. Or I used to hate when teachers used to do that, but now I understand the value of it because it's like, well, I just told you about it. Like, they want more information. It's like, okay, well, you're excited about it. Tell me more about it. Instead of getting upset and stuff like that, and like, hey, a kid might come in and it's like they see you doing something, but they want to run up against you and stuff like that. Like having that moment and taking time to step back to actually say, like, hey, this is what I need you to do. This is something that I want you to understand and really listen to them and see what they have to say. You'd be surprised on what they come through.
okay,
Yeah.
it's very very interesting. And I see Journey to Finance is shocked and she's laughing about it. Glad you're enjoying this show. I know we were talking about living paycheck to paycheck, but hey, it's evolved, and I think
But
like it's saying a lot of gems, right, Jen?
it is. It is. And I don't think you guys have anything to be worried about. I actually thought that was great that your children have roles and or jobs and they earn money. So they're learning that value of
Hmm.
money. And cause in some households there is none. They just literally they make orders. I want them Jordans, I want whatever. And they don't have any responsibility. They just, you know, like at least they do know what earning for a dollar represents. So I think you guys are further along than a lot of folks are.
I think at one time, this I'll throw this in. At one time, he had to do a presentation as to why he
Mhm.
needed some Air Jordans from to his cousin, his older cousin, and then he explained why and gave reasons, and yeah, he got it.
Hey, well, I mean, it's great with storytelling because that's another
Yeah,
thing that a lot of people leave out. Storytelling, it's like it's very important. Well, I talked about that on the panel. It's like you need to use that to get what you want, and if you can tell a great story, you can get pretty much
sure
anything you want.
did.
Yeah.
Right, right. Now you have given us a lot of information about finance and I really like the fact that you were talking about it and then you did it in the Afros and audio. Thank you so much for being part of that community. And, if not for you, if not for meeting you there, I don't know how we would have met. So
True.
thank you for showing up at that community. I
Yay.
was an ambassador. I believe I'm still an ambassador. I've not been fired yet. So I'm an ambassador for Afros and Audio, and I want to thank you for being there and giving out the special information that you gave out. Because if not for your storytelling, we would not be here. You telling the story about how we can take care of our personal finances. So from us to you, thank you so much on
Oh,
behalf of Afros and
thank you.
Audio. Say thank you for
Absolutely.
your communication and you taking your time actually to be out there. That was awesome. But before you go or we finish up on anything, let's talk about how people can reach out to you and kind of tell us about your podcast. I know you talked about we've given you this raving introduction about your podcast, but right now on your own. And I see that mug back there. You did
Yes.
give somebody a mug for asking the first question. He beat me to it. I had a question, but he.
Ah,
I'm gonna try that again. Yeah, he did. Imagine, and I'm gonna try that again next time. Hopefully, you're gonna be giving mugs.
Well, I might give a hoodie out next time because I got a lot of merch, so I'm just trying to do different things. Yeah,
ooh.
but
Oh,
also it's hard to do hoodies because everybody is different sizes, so I don't have like a one
Mm,
size fits all hoodie. So the
mhm.
mugs were a little easier to do.
Oh,
okay.
awesome, awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
But let's go with your podcast in your own words and how we can reach you. And yeah, there you go.
Cool. So one of the ways that first off, thank you both for having me on the show. And
Yay.
actually, it was awesome meeting you guys in Baltimore at the Afros and Audio. So definitely shout outs to Talib for putting that together.
Yay.
Um, One of the things that places, as most of you will follow me now, is that you can follow me at About That Wallet on all social media platforms. Instagram is where I'm most active. I am very active as well on X or Twitter at About That Wallet. And I go live every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Gotta make sure I get these standard times in there. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube, Facebook, and I also do X as well. And I'm also on LinkedIn. I'm trying to get better at that. But all in all, you can find me there. And thanks. Oh, and definitely check out my newsletter. So I do a monthly newsletter. I'm working on my November newsletter. You can sign up at aboutthatwallet.com/newsletter. I'm putting in a lot of information in there. So I'm doing chat GPT prompts. I'm doing taxes in there. You getting
Nice.
things, quotes from other podcast guests, shows what's coming up. I try to give some gems that you can actually utilize today, from budgeting tips, some new investment opportunities, as far as like what is a basis point. Like, so these are things that I kind of talk about inside my newsletter. And so yeah, if you want to keep up with me, see where I'm at, learn some new things, sign my newsletter.
Yep.
That is
I think
amazing.
I have.
I've signed up. I've signed up, so
Uh,
I'm excited.
I'm next. I'm next. I like the fact that I want to give you flowers because people
oh,
don't give out flowers like talking about it, but we're going to give you flowers for the fact that for your show, you did your own artwork and put it out there and had people joining in from your channel. And I would like to extend this again over and say, hey, next time, maybe another time, you can come and we still talk about finance. The podcast is always open for us to have this conversation again. Financing. I had a great time today. So with that, I'm gonna tell Jen, hey, take us home.
And Anthony, if you have any other final words,
okay. My final words is make sure that now that you know what a bike is, make sure if you fall off, get back on it. Because once you fall off, you're giving up.
mm,
And I don't not want to see you give up. And if you feel like you're giving up, please reach out to me. Let's go on and get you back up on there.
absolutely. Anthony is also a financial coach.
Oh yeah.
So, look, I might need to get on a payment plan. So then we can talk about that later.
Let's
But
do it. Let's do it.
yeah, because yeah, I got some concerns.
Let's
Well,
make
that
it happen.
Look, I'm trying, the multiple streams income slowly but surely. I got a little side hustle, but everything is not curling over the way it's supposed to.
The way you wanted
Um,
to, right?
yeah, I bought floor
Oh,
tickets from to Beyonce a couple years ago, and I'm still hurting. Cause look, all right, we ain't gonna talk about that.
Okay.
hey, do you talk about podcasting? Like, can we probably talk about podcasting in terms of, and we'll give it for another show where we talk about podcasts and how they can earn income and, kind of reference how to make income because you're already doing merch and stuff like that. Maybe talk about how you change yours, talking about in a business perspective, how you kind of, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Can do another show. I like our listeners, and especially those podcasters, to come out and listen to how they can elevate their podcast using their finances and how to wiggle around and get into these spaces where they will make money off of their podcast, not just
Or
going and
content, just content in general, right?
right,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right,
Hmm.
and how you're gonna spend. Look at yourself as a business, how to spend money, how to leverage the amount of money you get, and what do you do with this and that stuff like that. So I guess that'll be a conversation for another day. Sorry, you have a lot of things coming for you. I don't know.
Yeah, I do a lot. It's just I fail a lot too. So that's the thing. Like people like to say, like, all right, cool, you know you failed. Like, no, tell me how you succeeded. It's like, I'm still failing. Like, give me a chance.
Remember what you said, mess. Talk to the person who went through mess because they will be a great messenger.
And
I'll
it
Yes.
keep
can
that.
turn around, it really can turn around. So, every time, you fall, like there's a come up, so
You know.
I've seen it time and time again. So just because you're down doesn't mean you're always down. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Awesome.
Okay. Well, I want to make sure if you wanted to share something else, but we appreciate you again. As Sambaza said, you're welcome here anytime.
Oh, thank you.
And all right, and thank you guys for joining us. Everyone who joined in on the chat. If you're catching us on the replay, we appreciate you. The audio episode will be up soon, and we hope that you found today's conversation inspiring and enlightening. Please consider sharing it with friends, family, colleagues. Our collective awareness and advocacy play a crucial role in creating positive change. So please stay tuned for more engaging content, and we look forward to continuing these important conversations in the future. So, for Work by Accident, Sambaza collaboration, we thank you guys. And Anthony, stay tuned for our proper goodbye. And everybody else, please take care.
Peace.